Jewish Education in Media is pleased to present L'Chaim, a program that highlights the people, issues, and events of importance to the Jewish community. Now here is your host, Rabbi Mark Golub.
I'm Mark Golub, and one of the most contentious, volatile issues on the world scene today is the issue of immigration. Here in America, the question of how our society relates to those who have entered the United States illegally or who remain in America illegally is the hottest political potato we've seen since the battle over legalizing abortion in this country in the early 1970s. Do we or don't we deport illegal immigrants, especially those who are guilty of felonies? Do we create a path to citizenship for children who were brought here illegally and who only know America as their home? Do American municipalities designate themselves as sanctuary cities to protect undocumented immigrants and refuse to comply with federal law and federal law enforcement? And are they doing the right thing? Should we strengthen border policies, making it more difficult for people to enter the country illegally? Should we build a wall, or do we embrace the notion of open borders, where anyone who is vetted may enter the United States to find work and the chance to have a better life? All these are burning social issues which are pitting Americans against Americans in a tragic cacophony of sound and fury. But it's not only in America that immigration is a pressing problem. In Europe, mass immigration, much of it from Muslim countries, threatens to radically alter the character of age-old Western societies. And even in Israel, which has had a stellar history of welcoming refugees fleeing persecution, including non-Jewish refugees, as Prime Minister Menachem Begin welcomed 360 Vietnamese boat people fleeing communist persecution in the late 1970s. Even Israel today is embroiled in a social battle over whether it should or should not deport any of the 40,000 refugees from Africa. Refugees in Israel argue they are fleeing the harsh political conditions in Eritrea or genocide and war in Sudan. Many Israeli officials argue these refugees are not fleeing persecution, but have come to Israel to find work. There are many people today who believe we now live in a global society where nation states and national borders are purely symbolic relics of a stage gone by in human history and in the evolution of civilization. And there are those who believe that nation states with borders and rules of immigration are vital to the continuation of civilization, especially of Western civilization, which includes Jewish civilization being actualized by the state of Israel. Well, in the midst of all the rhetoric and controversy, one keen, brilliant, humorous, prolific social commentator has written yet another book, this time focusing on the challenge of immigration, using once again Germany as the social laboratory. The book is entitled Hello, Refugees, and it's all about the people in refugee camps in Germany. If you're a regular JBS viewer, you know him well from his prior conversations here on L'Chaim, and from the many lectures and panels he's participated in and which we have telecast here on JBS. It's always a great pleasure for me to welcome back to L'chaim someone for whom I have enormous regard and affection, Tuvia Tenenbom, best-selling author, journalist, playwright, director, essayist, whose written work includes the #1 bestseller in Israel, Catch the Jew, now in Hebrew as well. He's also written The Lies They Tell, exposing anti-Semitism and racism in America, and his first book, I Sleep in Hitler's Room, which was a bestseller in Germany. Let me remind you a little bit about Tuvia Tenenbom. He was born in the Israeli town of Bnei Brak, has rabbinic Smitha from Jerusalem. Tuvia is a Renaissance man. Appetite for learning boundless, with a BA in mathematics and computer science from Touro College, an MFA in playwriting from CUNY Brooklyn, and he studied for his doctorate in English at St. John's University. In addition to being a first-class author, Tuvia is the founder of the Jewish Theater of New York, the only English-speaking Jewish theater in the city, for which Tuvia has written more than 16 plays, which adoring critics have said are irreverent, courageous, and brilliant. It is wonderful to have you back at this table. I want you here all the time. Thank you for joining me again, Tuvia.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Mark. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. My feeling are mutual. You know what I think about you. You are one in a million.
Thank you.
You are so unique. You are really unique in the world of Jewish culture, and in television there is no one like you.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to be with you every time, anytime.
I love it myself. Okay. By the way, Hello Refugees, already translated into Israel.
Yeah, Hebrew.
Shalom
Plitim.
And Tuvia's main publisher is in Germany. The publisher's name is?
Zukunft.
And here is the initial version. Tuvia
The original version, yeah.
The original. And the title is?
The original publishing. Allein unter Flüchtlingen.
Which means?
Alone among refugees.
Alone among refugees.
Yeah.
And you explained to me, by the way, this is a series now.
Yeah, my books in Germany, my publisher Zukunft. This is the publisher, by the way, that publishes Jewish authors such as Noam Chomsky, Judith Butler, Amos Oz. I am the only rare Jewish bird in their line of publication. Yeah, and they are my main publishers, you know, and I write it in English, they translate it into all the other versions.
But all the main versions have the same theme, right?
They all have the same theme. Every book is allein unter, meaning along among something. You know, like the book Catch the Jew is in Germany called Allein unter Juden, along among Jews. The book about I Sleep in Hitler's Room is allein unter Deutschen, along among Germans. Sorry. The book about America, which here is called The Lies They Tell. In Deutschland, in Germany, it is allein unter Amerikanern, along among Americans. So, yeah.
Okay, good for you. You know, we've had other conversations on L'chaim. If people want to know about your spectacular background, they should go online and see our first interview where we talked about Catch the Jew.
Yeah.
But for this book, you begin by explaining in the book that your publisher wants you to really look into Syrian refugees.
My publisher had this idea, you know, he said, you know, we have this refugee issue, the refugee crisis, you know, so you speak Arabic, you understand them, you understand German too, of course, and why don't you go and talk to the people? And for me, it was like a great idea because we are, as you explained before, we are basically the most important issue in the West today, in the Western culture, is these two camps, basically, divided two camps, polarizing Western societies, not just in America, in Europe, and everywhere, and namely, it's the one group of people who want to be globalized.
Yes.
No border, no nation. We are all together, one human being, and forget all what's nationality. And there are other people who say, no, we love our culture. The American who loves his culture, the German who loves his culture, and the French who loves her culture. And they only continue with this. They don't want to break with the past. And these two camps, the camps that want to globalize, wants refugees wants to welcome refugees. The camp that does not want to be globalized is the camp that says, no refugees unless we accept you legally, etc., etc., etc. And these are the two camps.
Does the group that says, we believe in nations and cultures, does it say it wants no immigration?
For the most part, at least not the numbers that we have. For example, they say they have other solutions. They say we'll build, yes, we are going to help people, we like to help people, but why should we take the Syrians and bring them there? Let's make a safe zone next to Syria and help them from there. For example, they have other ways of doing it. And that happens in every country. And what was interesting is because Germany accepted for the past few years, accepted close to 2 million people actually. Refugees from the Middle East and from Africa. And this is the countries that open its door more than anyone. In 2015, 2016, they accepted about 1 million refugees just in those periods, in about 1 year. So this is a perfect place to really see what happens. And Germany presented itself, and still presents itself, as the most open-minded society, the most loving of strangers, the most loving of foreigners, and the most caring of all other nations because they have accepted so many refugees.
Yes. By the way, speak for one moment about a story you tell about the evolution of Angela Merkel. And you tell a story where she meets a Palestinian girl. And she says something. And later she changes her mind. Explain that.
That was interesting because everybody was asking, what happened to Angela Merkel? Because when Germany opened the borders, the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, did not put it to the parliament, to the Bundestag, or to the cabinet to decide for a vote. It was a single person's vote. She decided to open the gates around August 2015. She decided to really open the gate. Everybody welcome, and the lines that she said, the logo, the motto was "Wir schaffen das." We can do it. It's like equivalent to the "Yes, we can" of Barack Obama, former president. So, and there was just like a short while before that, and it was broadcast on TV. She was talking to some kids, and one of them was a 14-year-old Palestinian refugee from Lebanon. It's a very complex thing what it is. What does it mean? Okay, but that's what the name, Palestinian refugee. And she sat where she was like almost crying actually.
The girl was.
The girl, we don't get the papers, she didn't get the papers, she's afraid to be thrown out, and push, forcibly return to Lebanon. And Angela Merkel said, I understand you, but what can I do? If I open the gates, if we let everybody in, it will never stop. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people will come. We just cannot do that. And she was very much criticized for that, because the image she had built for herself was Mutti, Mama. She was the mama of Germany. She's the mamale. In Yiddish you would say it's mamale. She was the mamale. And all of a sudden, she's talking to a 14-year-old, and she was very harsh with her. She was very hard on her. It's like, what happened to Mutti? What happened to Mama? So everybody criticized her. And so soon after that, Angela Merkel had a change of heart, and she decided, yes, we open the gates. The same Angela Merkel who said we will not open the gate. The same Angela Merkel who said, we made an experiment with the Turkish people. We have 4 million of them here. And we made an experiment of multiculturalism, and it didn't work. We failed in multiculturalism. This is the same person who decided to, one day, to just open the gates. And the question is why? So there are many reasons that people say, and what was interesting for me, I said to myself, I'm going to go on the streets and I'm going to ask the Germans, why did you open the gates? So I went with my wife, Izzy, and we had 2 younger people with us, one a cameraman by the name of Florian and one a soundman by the name of Daniel.
Had they worked with you before?
They worked with me before, yeah.
Yes.
And so, because I want to make sure always to record everything.
You're documenting everything.
You have to document everything because then you write a book and if you find things that are strange, nobody's going to believe you.
Absolutely.
So you have to document them as much as you can.
Okay.
So so we went and we asked the Germans, why did Germany open the gates? So I thought the Germans would say, because Angela Merkel decided, I have no idea why she did that, but she did that. Because that's the fact. But this is not what people answered. In 95% of the people that we asked, they answered because of the Geschichte. Geschichte means the history. And when I tried to get understanding why it is, so what do you mean by that? They said, okay, they have made a mistake in last century. They killed and burned alive many people, especially Jews, millions of Jews, 6 million Jews, and it's not nice. Put them in a crematorium, nice people. And so the people knows them as that. I mean, this is what Germans are famous for, so to speak. So they want to change their image. They want to show the world that they have changed. That's actually what's really inside them, as the president of Germany said at the time, we Germans showed what's really inside us. He said it in 2015, and the end of 2015. And what is it? That we are good people. Which means that, as the Germans say, we are better than anybody else. And then they explain to me, unlike the Jews, Jews are inhumane. But we are very human. So it was interesting that this kind of turnaround, of the whole thing, it's like, it always comes back to the Jew. It's like fighting. So this is one element.
They did not know you were a Jew.
No, God forbid, God forbid.
And they brought up on their own.
On their own.
The Jewish connection?
The Jewish connection, which is very, very interesting. I found it fascinating.
Yes.
It's fascinating. It's so much anti-Semitism in the country. And then what we did basically was very simple. So one day with the refugees, one day with the Germans. So I told you the part of the Germans, for example. Now I'll tell you the part of the refugees. So where do you find refugees? The best place to find them are in the refugee camps. So I'm going to the refugee camps. But there is a problem there. The refugee camps, most of them, especially the big ones, have security in front. There are gates. You cannot walk in.
Where are they literally located?
For example, in Berlin, it was in Tempelhof, for example, in Leipzig, in the old Messehalle and the old center.
And what should we imagine? What is a refugee camp like?
I'll tell you. I'll give you an example, okay? So first of all, we walk in, and I try to walk in, and the guards say no. Especially
when you say walk in, what? Into what?
There is a place. For example, in Tempelhof, there used to be at the time, during World War II, that was, and for quite some time after that, that used to be an airport. And it was built in Nazi style, which means huge, gigantic structures. I mean, you're talking about every hangar is like, boom. It's built like beautiful stone and high all the way to the top. It's like an amazing thing. I mean, Nazi style we are talking. We are talking, Albert Speer style. We are talking about real beauty. I mean, it's like, the Aryan race compared to the best, right? So it's not functioning anymore as a refugee camp, as a airport for many, many years. So what did they do? They put, from the beginning, they built like containers, you say. They put in these empty spaces. They built like many rooms, many little rooms, and in each room there are about 10 people with bunks, beds like bunks, and they are made either from cheap wood or from plastic or from just sheets, no doors, no privacy. And you have like many rooms, like, so So you just imagine how your life is.
It doesn't sound pleasant to me.
So at the beginning, I didn't know. So you try to walk in, and then I start telling you, because I didn't know it in the beginning. As I lived there, I didn't know. I mean, so I walked in, and the security says, you cannot go in. So what we did, because my wife and I speak Arabic, we wait for the Arabs to come, to walk around not far from the gates or whatever it is. And once they come, we start talking to them. And because we understand the culture, we can play games with them, play jokes, hey, and then we tell them something like this, Every time it was different, but more or less the formula was this. Go to the guards, tell the guards that I have just arrived from Aleppo with my wife and 2 children, this is the cameraman, so not our children, of course, and we came to visit you. And then they go, they go to the guards and they say, because by that time we became friendly, they go to the guards and say, the uncle from the family came from Aleppo to visit us. So of course we have to open the gates. And that's when I saw what's happening inside. That's when I realized all these little rooms, It was, I remember, it was summer. It was like 80, 90 degrees outside, talking Fahrenheit here. No air conditioning inside. No fence inside, and many of them no windows, of course. There's nothing. They're just like this structure one in another. People are sweating there, cannot do anything, cannot walk. They get the food. I tasted the food. You wouldn't give it to horses. Really bad food. You go to the toilets. They are all broken. Almost all of them are broken. And no toilet paper, no doors. You have to do no doors. And you try to wash your hands, to clean your hands. The faucet don't work because there's no water coming out. And on top of that, the Germans, because they believe that we are all the same person, all humanity is the same. So what they did, they put everybody together. They made a mess. The Sunnis, the Shias, the Druze, the Christians, everybody. So just imagine it. You are in this little room, and next to you is a guy who killed your mother, or the mother of your friend. And above you is somebody who raped your sister or your friend's sister. How would you feel? I mean, what is the idiotic thing to put them all together? And I talked to them, they explained to me. They said, at night, though the night comes in, they congregate and they start fighting. They slash each other. I couldn't believe it. I said to the guy who told me that, I said, show me. So he pulled off his shirt. So a huge, long cut in his clothes. That's what you do. I mean, they have killed each other over there. Why are you putting them together? And it's like one place. It was in one refugee camps. It used to be a dog hotel. And I'll never forget that moment. It's not functioning for God knows how many years. So they put the refugees there. And then when I talk to the refugees, one of them says to me, can you come with me a second? So he brings me to one of the faucets that works and brings water, and the water is yellow. And he asks me, really? Naively, because he doesn't know. He said, because in Syria they didn't have yellow water, they had water or no color. He says, is this all over Germany you have yellow water? What am I supposed to answer? And so these Germans who have tried to show the world how beautiful they are, accepted so many people, and on the TV screens of Germany you saw all the time, young and old Germans come with teddy bears and cookies and all kinds of things, giving to the refugees. But then we put the refugees in the camps. The TV cameras are off. Everybody's out. If you are a journalist, you cannot enter. The only way you can enter if you make an appointment and then you are going to be together with an official, which I would never do. But if you walk into the refugee camp and you see this, it's frightening. And you know how many refugees said to me, please help me out of here. I want to go out. I want to fly back today to Syria. But they can't. Because most of these people, in Syria, the salary is about $40, if you equivalent it, $40 a month, and just to smuggle families, it's like €1,000 each or something like that. And all the drive and all these things, all the flights and everything, that's cost them. It's enormous amount of money. They spend everything. Now they are here. Here in Germany. And there is nothing they can do. They are not allowed to work.
They can't work?
It takes a long time till they get permission to work. It can take months upon months upon months till they get the appointment.
Are they going to stay in these camps indefinitely?
They are not supposed to stay in these camps. But after they don't, but this is what surprises me. I said, okay, if this is only for the first month, I understand it. But I ask people, some of them only for 8 months, some of them God knows for many months. Some of them over a year toiling in camps. And that's a problem. And finally, after you get out, you get a little apartment, you get something. You get money every month, yeah. You get health insurance for free. But what are you going to do? You speak no German. Nobody speaks Arabic. You are religious. And what are you going to do? You'll see them in the main train station, the main bus stations, just going there, just sitting and watching, staring at people. Or in their neighborhood, just sitting outside on benches because they have nothing to do. Nobody really thought about a system to make it work nicely, to really make it work. Mm-hmm. It's like the whole acceptance of the people, from what I have seen, is a huge and beautiful and amazing PR campaign, but beyond it is nothing.
Mm-hmm. In retrospect now, do you think Merkel and Germany was wrong to open its doors to Syrian refugees?
Look, Merkel, after she made the whole thing of opening the door, and people were coming, hundreds of thousands, like another 100,000, another 100,000. So what did she do? She met Erdogan, and in the name of the EU, of course, and she made a deal with Erdogan. And what was the deal with Erdogan? For €6 billion a year, make sure that no more refugees are coming from Turkey into the EU, meaning Germany, because most of them came to Germany. So, which is amazing, because if the idea was human rights, as the Germany said it, we cannot allow these people to die. They are human beings like us, We must accept them because we must help people in need. What did Germany do? Now she said, okay, when you come here, I don't want you to die. So I'm going to make sure that you stay there and you die over there with Erdogan. Die over there, baby. We'll pay €6 billion a year so you die over there. What happened? So you can see how fake this whole love for humanity is. How fake it is. And for me, after I came from Germany, after this writing of this book and come back to New York City, where I live, at least partially, and I live in the Upper East Side. And I remember before this present administration, while Barack Obama was the president, under Barack Obama, America allowed 16,000 Syrians to come to the United States. That's a drop in the bucket. It bothered nobody. After, Trump became president, all of a sudden everybody wants the refugees. And in my shtetl, the Upper East Side, the Bagel Store and all these places, they put, we welcome refugees. Refugees, please come in. And I say to myself, are you kidding me? How many refugees are going to come to the Upper East Side and pay $17 for a bagel? And $10 for a little cup of orange juice. How many?
I want to ask you about 2 chapters in your book.
Yeah.
You have a chapter entitled, Germans Don't Kill People, Period.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say in that chapter?
It's like
this is what, in essence, the German attitude is, right?
Exactly.
We don't kill people, period.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, this is very funny. So as I interviewed a couple from Syria, you know, and they were like in a nice refugee camp. I mean, they actually got an apartment, you know, and in a very rich neighborhood, which usually it's not, you know. And the city of Hamburg made a deal with the residents of the neighborhood, the rich neighborhood. They bought a non-functioning building, and they made a deal that they are not putting more than 200 refugees there, up to 199, which is very. So and they put them in rooms, and then I talked to this couple, and it was a very interesting conversation. And the couple said, you know, so we are very glad to be here in Germany. You know, unlike where we come from, it turned out they come actually from Lebanon, not from Syria. They just, they faked the whole thing. Don't ask me how they did it. You know, because, anyway, they came from Lebanon. And the son said, you're crying, you know, why are we leaving Lebanon? Lebanon is so good, you know, it's like, why are we leaving to Germany? But the mother said, you know, and she explained it, you know, she said, you know, in Germany, I heard you get free education. I don't have to pay thousands of whatever, you know, for my education, for children. Healthcare free, everything free, and they give a partner free, so they came. Anyway, but she said to me, Germany is so good, like in Lebanon, everybody kills each other. Everybody kills each other. And in Germany, they never kill people. They don't kill people. They never kill people. These are nice people. So, and I asked them, you know, they think I'm going to buy it, you know, because, you know, in Germany, you know, if a refugee talks like this, you immediately, the white people will say, very nice, thank you, you know, and I said, excuse me, do you remember, just in case, I mean, you know a little bit what happened in this city 70 years ago? Do you know what happened? Do you right here, you know what? And you see the two Lebanese like, quiet.
But what I couldn't tell from your writing, was it that they didn't know, or they knew and they had no answer?
Of course, they didn't want to answer because a normal German, you know, would say, yes, thank you very much, yes, very nice. We are very happy you are here, you know, blah, 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 blah.
So your point is that this whole line, Germans don't kill, period, Germans don't kill, period, is something that these immigrants want to say, because and the Germans love to hear it.
Exactly. They all say everything the Germans like to hear. It depends, the older you are. For example, you want to go in a refugee camp, you know, and then there's this woman comes, and she sees us, you know, and she's like, oh, Germany is so good, Germany is so good, Germany is so good. The Germans are nice people, the Germans, they love us, everything is so nice German. The guards are very nice, everybody is nice, the food is so good, everything is good. And then, okay, I heard you. It was heartbreaking to see that, because she says it in front of the guards. And then a guy comes to me and he says, young man, do you want to know the truth? I said, yes. He said, then let's get out of here. And he took me like 15 minutes away, 15 minutes walk away, in between trees, and he told me the truth. And the truth was frightening. Like he would tell me stories of one of the people in refugee, you know, he tried to jump from the top of the camp. You know, he tried to jump and to kill himself, and the police came, you know, because he said, I don't want to be here, I'm in prison. I didn't come all here to be in prison. I want to be alive. Take me back to Syria. So the police can say, so he tells you all these horrible things, you know, that really happens there. So, and you have this generational thing, yeah.
I want to understand your overall perspective here.
Yeah.
Because you could be saying one of two things.
Yeah.
You could be saying, you know, the goal, the perspective, the ethic that drove Angela Merkel and Germany to open their doors and to, for whatever period of time, say there are no borders, was idealistically a wonderful thing to do, but the way it was implemented was in many ways inhumane in terms of the living conditions that these people now live in. Or you could be saying that the entire enterprise was in some way folly, and it's not about the details of how people are living now in refugee camps. it's about whether this ever should have been done in the first place. I want to understand your perspective.
Okay, I'll give you my perspective. It's a combination of both of them. I mean, what the German did, because the German government did, in the German societies, they are very exact, they are very functional, they are very punktlich. I mean, they're very, they are there, they know how to do it. Look at the cars. And look at the way when they brought the refugees and they put them on trains, and they spread them all over Germany, and everything came on the moment, on the exact second, 400 here, 20 here, 1,500 there, Leipzig, Munich, everything, they put them everywhere, everybody knew. But once there, all this beautiful German machinery stopped working for some reason. I mean, they treat people like dogs, as the refugees themselves say to me. So obviously, when you look at it, obviously, the idea of doing it was sadly not coming from a good place. It came from a political place. And by the end of the day, it was a decision of one person. It did not come from a good place, it came from a political place. I wouldn't say it came from a bad place, but not from a good place. It came from political, it was branding, it was showing that Germany is good, and the more you like Germany, politically speaking, you're going to buy more Mercedeses. It's very simple. That's the way it works. That's what Germany did. And so from that perspective, you just used misfortune of others to create this. And another thing, what should we do with the refugees in general? The first one who should accept them, is the Americans. Because who created the mess in the Middle East? The American invasion to Iraq, Gulf War I, Gulf War II, which I think America should not have engaged in, because it's not Saddam Hussein who killed, in the World Trade Center 9/11, it was some Saudis, And then the combination of other things, when America got involved, and this is also Europe itself, not just America, all the Arab Spring, trying to impose democracy on the Arab world. And how do you impose it? With missiles. I mean, it's like America dropped God knows how many Tomahawk missiles, just on Libya. And every Tomahawk missile cost between $1 million and $1.5 million. For what? We've made a huge mess in Libya, killed God knows how many people, nobody knows the exact number. And there is no country anymore, Libya. The same thing, so one Arab country after another, we made a big mess. He got involved in a bad way, that was with Hillary Clinton, zigzag diplomacy with Mubarak, the leader of Egypt at the time,
Okay, but Iraq starts with Bush.
Iraq starts with Bush, yeah, no question about it. Iraq starts with Bush.
It has been more than one administration in our country.
Of course.
That's created the problem you're talking
it's
about.
It's Republicans and Democrats.
Right.
It's not one, I'm not taking,
right.
It's not any party
It's not
issue.
partisan.
It's not a partisan thing. Both parties have done terribly wrong. Every time America got involved in the Middle East, with armed forces or with armed machinery, it was wrong. So we basically killed, and Europeans also, like Italy was in charge of Libya, and all those things.
It sounds to me like, on the one hand, you believe trying to open borders to immigrants is a moral and good thing to do. You're just a little bit suspect when it is driven by political purposes, and it was
I
not
think it's the worst
well.
when it comes from political purposes. The refugees feel terrible and nobody cares. So obviously it does not come from a good source.
I want to hear what you have to say about the specific issues that are related to this whole immigration discussion. First of all, from your experience, and you know Europe far better than most of us, has the immigration from Muslim Arab countries affected the character of Western societies?
Not yet. It's very hard. Even in Germany, even you're talking about almost upward for 2 million, you're still talking about, the country is over 80 million people. About 84, 85 million people. And, so 4 million already Turkish, already Muslim. And then put another 6 million, it's not going to affect the country. It's not going to affect. It's going to affect a little bit, but not much. And especially because these two cultures, German culture for the most part is atheist. The Muslims are for the most part religious and very religious, you know, and from two different kinds. I mean, Germans are from, the background is Christianity, and they are Muslim. So the real integration is not going to happen unless all these Arabs will become atheists, which I don't foresee. So basically, if you are a refugee in Europe today, I mean, this is a very bad place to be, because you have to give up your culture if you want to integrate. If you want to be part of the society.
Our understanding is they don't want to integrate.
And that's what I'm saying. And if you don't want to integrate, you'll always be a minority. You'll always be looked down upon.
Will they always be a minority?
Of course.
Will they be a minority in France?
They are a minority in France, of course. Ask the Moroccans in France. Ask the Moroccans who live in Belgium how they feel. I've talked to them. You know, they feel like the majority doesn't like them.
Okay.
The only place, the only time where the European like Arabs is when there is a Jew in the middle, like Palestinians. So the only Arabs you really like, the only Muslims you really like, and they are willing to spend money on, why? Because they know this is against the Jew. Any other Arabs they really don't like. Look how the European countries treat the Arabs who live amongst them. As a piece of garbage. Garbage.
Very interesting. I'm only saying to you that when you hear the way the discussion is framed in America,
it's political. Nobody really cares about the people. I mean, this is very interesting, but this is what it is. You know, because when Barack Obama was the president, nobody was screaming, you know, there were no demonstrations on the street, you know, to open the gates for refugees. Because that was a democratic, progressive, liberal regime. So if the progressive liberal says no, no. Now we have conservative and the progressive liberals, you know, they don't have to do anything, they just have to talk. So they talk and they say open the borders, you know, and everybody all of a sudden, you know, the liberal side, let's open the borders. In every shul they open the borders, you know, not every, but you know, and you see these kind of scenes, you know, Moshe Yankel, you know, and John Schmitz, or whatever it is, the Jew who call themselves John Smith, you know, they come from the temple and they make a big party for the refugee from Syria. Oh God, you can cry out of like, I can't believe you're doing this. It's all political. It's not, sorry to say it, it's all a game. It's all a game. How many people really invite those people to the Rome?
okay.
How many people?
And what's your attitude on this issue of whether we have moved beyond nation states and we are a global society and borders should no longer be used to restrict travel?
I mean, it's a very nice idea, but if it comes to fruition, at the conclusion, you'll have one culture all over the world. Everybody will speak the same language. And everywhere you'll have a McDonald's and Pizza Hut. Would I like to live in that culture, in that world? Mark, no. I love to move on a car. I travel a lot in the world. I love when it's a different culture. When I'm in Poland, I just came back from Poland. It's one culture, it's a unique culture. It's unique food, you know, it's like their food, their style. And then you go to France and it's their style, and it's a different language and different food, different custom, different way of people communicating. And then you move from there to Britain. God knows what it's like, you know. So I fluent on English, you know. It takes me like 15 minutes to understand what they are saying. But it's beautiful, you know. I don't like the food, but at least there is a difference. It's beautiful to see in how many shapes the humanity can find itself and be formed.
But
I love that different
I
cultures.
understand. Those who argue for a global view are not suggesting that cultures give up their identity.
But that's what happens. You cannot not give up the identity. If you open the borders, open all the borders, and everything is the same, and everybody can move wherever, and which is nice, it's a nice idea, but by the end of the day, what it is.
But what we hear all the time is that America has been built on diversity. And there's an element of truth to that.
No question.
Okay.
But I traveled America from the other book, and I want to see the diversity. And I saw the diversity is very beautiful in name, but in practice, it's horrible thing how the blacks live here. Go to the ghettos. Visit where, where the poor live. See what happens there. The murder, the senseless murder that nobody cares about.
Yes, but that's what the left has been saying.
No, but that's what it is. This is diversity. The left here didn't care. Ramin Emanuel in Chicago, it's total democratic regime over there. What is it? Does he care about blacks? No. Does he care about Englewood? You know Englewood? I have been to Englewood. The police was in the front, tell me not to go in because you are entering. How does he say it? This is a. What does he say? He said this is not a neighborhood. This is a shooting range. That's the cops tell me. This is Ramin Emanuel, democratic regime in Chicago. And what happens there? If you demonstrate for freedom, and if you have Star of David, they kick you out. This is the diversity we have here. Mm-hmm. What kind of diversity we have in America? Mm-hmm. It's not really working. I love it. I love the idea of it. I really love the idea of it. But in my neighborhood, you see in the afternoon, you see the black ladies with the carriages, with the white kids. It's not going the other way around, baby. And we are in 2018. The nanny is black, doesn't make money. The parents are rich white. They have no time to care for their children because they have been working, they are making money. Mm. That's the reality of life. Mm-hmm.
From your experience now,
Tuvia,
what should America do with those people who are here illegally? They're either called illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, depending on who's doing the talking. But we know who they are.
We know who they are.
What should be done with this group of people?
I think they should have accepted them because otherwise nobody is going to cook for you in American restaurants. You take away the Mexicans, who's going to clean? I'm sorry to say that. This is the reality. It's every generation. Okay. It's every generation.
That's not the essence of your argument.
But you know what I'm saying? Every generation has that. It used to be the Jews doing it. It used to be the Irish doing this. And that's what it is. By the end of the day, I don't see the point of taking millions of people who grew up here and throw them out.
Okay. Is there a difference in your mind between immigrants who have come here legally and immigrants who have come here illegally? Because at the moment, the two are conflated. Yeah. I never hear that distinction made. How do you approach that? There is a distinction.
You're talking about the DACA, the children who go up here? Is this what you're talking about?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about people. There are many immigrants in this country who came legally and who are American citizens and who are doing all kinds of jobs from...
Whatever,
Okay. Then there are people who came here illegally, looking for work. Okay. At the moment, most of the discussion does not make a distinction between legal and illegal immigrants. People who have come here legally through a system and those who haven't. And people who are against the system say, well, our immigration system is broken. And therefore, we should allow for illegal immigrants. What's your answer?
I think you have to improve if every country needs borders. At least we still think so. Most people, I guess, I don't know. But
you do.
I think it's better if you have borders. I think it's better, because that's what keeps the cultures moving. But in America is a huge country. The illegally, I myself was an illegal immigrant. How can I say anything else? I came here, in the beginning of the 80s, I was an illegal immigrant. For 7 years, I was illegal. And I became legal only because of the amnesty that was signed by no other than Ronald Reagan, And it was a Congress decision, but he signed it. So if not save for the grace of Ronald Reagan, I would be now probably in Syria. Or wherever, I don't know. But so I myself was an illegal immigrant. So what am I going to say? I'm going to fake it. It's like, and most of the people talk about it. It's like every one of us is so close to be illegal immigrants. This is America, at least it calls itself the land of immigrants. It says about its strengths, the land of immigrants. The fact that they are illegal, it's not their fault, it's the fault of the system that allowed it to happen. The fault of the system that for years and years and years does not know how to make really the borders to work, or whatever the system to work. This is the fault of the system. It's not just borders. You know the people who came in, you know the numbers, you can check where they are now. I mean, nobody's doing it. Go to the factories, you'll find them, many of them. I mean, the powers that be in this country knows where those people are, you know? And they have not done it for generations. So now wake up and say, let's throw the people out. This is the system that it worked for so many years. You know, one thing that touched me in America, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Right?
Okay, one more. What about the situation in Israel and immigrants who are now called illegal, African immigrants?
Yeah.
And this question, should some of them be deported or not? What's your feeling?
I mean, my feeling, by the end of the day, you're talking about 30, 40,000 people. You're
Right.
not talking about a huge number of
Correct.
people. I mean, these people, their children speak Hebrew. I mean, it's heartbreaking to see this little kid from Sudan, you know, and they speak, it's the only language they know is Hebrew. They're not Jews, but one language they know is Hebrew. They don't speak Arabic. They might be Muslims, but they don't speak Arabic. They speak only Hebrew. What am I going to do with them? I mean, the idea was that if you allow them, then more will come. But this is not going to work anymore because there are like fences, you know, during the Netanyahu regime, the Netanyahu reign, they made all these fences. No more are coming. We're talking about 30 to 40,000 people. It's not a big number. Mm-hmm. Let's follow the example of Menachem Begin. You know, he opened for the few hundred Vietnamese, you know, and there was no better Jews than Menachem Begin, you know, more or less. Let's follow his example and open our hearts to these people. They are not going to change the culture in Israel. They are not going to influence the culture of Israel. The only thing that are going to be influenced, we are going to influence them. You know, with children who speak only Hebrew. I mean, it's like, I met those children. I mean, it's like, it's sweethearts. I mean, it's like, you can't, your heart is crying. You know, it's like, I'm going to take this kid and I'm going to throw him out.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So lo and behold, you write, Hello, Refugees.
Yeah.
As is true of every book, you learn yourself. There are all kinds of surprises.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you now, if you had to summarize
Yeah.
the overarching truth you learned from doing, you and Izzy, how long you spent on this book?
About 3 months.
Okay.
I mean, the travel.
Okay. Out of this 3 months of travel and then reflection as you write,
Yeah.
what do you feel is the most important insight you've learned and want to communicate?
I'll tell you as a Jew, I expected, you know, because I spent like one day with the Arabs, one day with the Germans, mostly Arabs, you know, some Afghans, whatever. The Muslims, one day with the Germans. I expected to hear a lot of anti-Semitism from the Arabs, from the Muslims, and I hoped not as much from the Germans. And what I found out during this trouble, that the real the most potent and the most poisonous anti-Semitic statement I did not hear from the Muslims. I heard from the Germans.
Still.
Like they would put the Jew in there like for no reason.
Yes.
You know, like the Jews kill Palestinians, you know, we help the Syrians, you know, blah, 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 blah. All the time, you know, over and over. And I said to myself, if anybody is going to say, by opening the gates to the Muslims, there's going to be more anti-Semitism in Germany, he's into a big mistake. He's making a big, huge mistake. The white man's anti-Semitism is the most dangerous one, not these Muslims. And that was one of the, and it was like shocking to me to understand the people who say, at least they say, we open the doors because we believe in freedom to all, we believe in human rights, and we are all the same. They still exclude one man and woman / woman from this equation, the Jew. They believe in human rights, they believe that everybody is equal. except for the Jew. And that's frightening. And it's still to this day in 2018, and that's frightening.
You know, you're fabulous.
Too.
No. I said to you even before we started, no one is doing what you're doing. You make a contribution across the board. You're translated into many languages. Many different peoples learn from you and grow from you. And kol tuva hatzlacha, but most of all, we grow as Jews. I am so honored to call you my friend, and you're always welcome in this chair, and we should do things every time we have a chance, but kol tuva hatzlacha, from strength to strength.
And the same to you. You are one amazing person.
Thank you.
One of the most amazing persons I met. Amazing people.
Tuvia Tenenbom, who's written Hello Refugees, the story of those now living in refugee camps in Germany. As always, I invite you to be in touch with me with any thoughts or comments you may have to any of the ideas expressed here on this edition of L'Chaim. Please email me, write me, post on our Facebook page, or tweet me. I look forward to hearing from many of you. Until the next time, I'm Mark Golub. L'Chaim, my friends, to life.
L'Chaim is a presentation of Jewish education in media.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who wishes to support JBS with a tax-deductible gift of $36, double chai or more. Simply visit the JBS website at jbstv.org and click on the Donate button to make a donation by PayPal or your credit card. And please, indicate the program for which you would like a DVD. Or you can send your tax-deductible check to JBS, P.O. Box 180, Riverdale Station, Bronx, New York, 10471. And again, please remember to indicate which program you would like to receive with our compliments. And we thank you for your kind support.